of edging God out and making us think that's what's real, when the truth is we then have to break through to the dark light of the soul, where then we actually get to the heart of who and who's, the innermost cave, like Joseph Campbell talked about in the original Hero's Journey version, that you go into the center of who you really are. And that's where people really often listen to music, from that place of depth and emotion and being raw. And that's where they're oftentimes sitting when they're listening to these songs that could potentially pull someone out of the pits of their own hell by reminding them of the power they have to create something other than that. And that we must go through the death and rebirth that comes from having our old life completely torched in order to be replaced, and then integrated of what we went through in the lessons to extract the emotion from the memory. So no longer do we have to be triggered by it, other than to remember it happened and what we learned from it, because we went back and took out the gold rather than just dumping over the whole rubble and gold locked in the barrel before we got there, because we were just tired of it. We just almost got there. Well, let's just go there and integrate it, and then embody a new energetic signature, so that when it's our name on our life at the end of our days and it's our tombstone that's there, we know what we can contribute. We have an idea who's going to take something away, that we know it's the dash in between, not the dates themselves, that are most significant and where we spend the majority of our time. So it's just reminding ourselves that where we may not be where we want to be, but in the end, we needed to get here in order to go where we're going next. And each of us are lighthouses where we are, which is why we're all isolated sometimes, especially as creatives and empaths oftentimes that really feel other people's stuff. There couldn't be all of us in one space, because we wouldn't be able to help as many people, because everyone would be able to be happier if they could tune into what we have. They need the happy that we infuse into our stuff. And it's by understanding that journey that helps us contribute when we get back home, where everyone says, "Where'd you go? Tell us about your adventures and your journey." Well, that's what the songs do. So I hope that you've enjoyed my song. Like, I've been at this for 9 years, which is why I can do what I can do. And I've been writing a book about the transformation of self-image through the hero's journey for 3.5 years. And I thought I could get it done in 30 days and beat myself up over it, and went into the lowest places and went through the emotional high rise of awareness, so to speak, simply because I judged myself so harshly, because I didn't get where I thought that I needed to be yesterday, tomorrow. It's just like I had such expectations, but our plan and the divine plan have completely different timelines. And a job you leave, but you get paid while you're there. A career you may bring home because it means more to you. And you also have to invest more of your life into it. And then the vocation you'll do for free because it lights you up. And when you're lit up, you spark the world.
I mean, it's funny because when I first kind of awoke to the idea of following my passion a few years ago, I realized I was doing it for myself, right? Because there's something in me that needed to be following a path that I'm meant to be doing. And through that, and because I truly believed it was what I needed to do to find happiness, and of course, since then I found that happiness. But what happens along the way is actually you're looking all of a sudden for a bigger purpose. So it no longer becomes about yourself. It's actually, well, what am I, so I want to be a singer, right? And I want to write music, I want to do songs. What am I doing with these songs that's important? So when I first got into the music industry, what I noticed is a lot of artists, it's very self-serving, and you're doing it for yourself and putting your name out there, trying to get streams, trying to get views. But it's like, but what is the end point of all this? There has to be more behind it and a purpose behind it, right? So that's where I started to realize, okay, well, my music's got to be focused on, my whole thing is about positivity, and at any point deciding that you're going to finally do what you've always wanted to do and all that, because I'm living proof of that. I did it myself, and now I'm trying to put that in the music in different ways, not overtly, preaching to people, but you try and pump positivity out at people. And Jared, through social media, I'm always talking about the positive side of things, because, you know, that's my way of giving the music a real purpose, and my whole whatever I'm doing in the music industry, that's just my way of putting positivity out there. So yeah.
I loved when you had said that it was about you and your first, Suzi, and then it came into more what you could do for others. And it just kind of struck me that it was the moving from me into we and then into why. So that we ultimately get back to the heart of what it is. Because as Simon Sinek says in his work, the why is inside of the what, which is inside of the how. And so oftentimes we're looking for the how, which is the ego, and the need to know what is true when the heart feels. And that's the greatest 18-inch fall of all, between the head and the heart. So it was just like me, we, why. And then the why, what, how. So really thinking about it in those terms.
Well, you know, it's funny. It's kind of happened by accident, because I was doing what I'm doing, right? So I've always loved music, didn't do that. I ended up getting married, having kids, raised kids. And then all of a sudden, you know, I'm in the corporate world and decide to do this 180-degree turn. And everybody thought I was nuts in the beginning. But then all of the people that I was working with, and other women that I know who are also moms and everything else, it was them when they started coming to me and going, I wish I could do what you're doing. I wish I had the guts to, we can't believe what you're doing. And then that woke me up to go, wait a second, what's happening here? And I'm in no way am I patting myself on the back going, oh, look at me. I'm just saying that that is what taught me that, wait a second, this is no longer about me. I'm just a vehicle for something else to show others, look, I know you, you know me, I'm a normal person. I was able to do this, which means now you can do this. And I didn't have to tell people that. They got it. They saw that and go, wait a second, like, maybe I can follow what it is that I want to do. So even if you inspire a couple of people, I think that's incredible. And then it all comes back to you, because it makes you feel great that that's my purpose. It's much bigger than the music or popularity or anything else that you thought that you were going after in the beginning.
So I've got to ask, Suzi, what inspired your song Love Revolution? I know that's a big inspiration for me. So
this is going to sound so bad, but I sat at a piano and it just came to me. You know how we talk sometimes as artists that something just comes to you. I don't know where it was coming from. It was a feeling. That's all I can ever say, is that I felt something big in the world is going to happen. And I sat at the piano and literally the words started coming out, and I was just like playing around and, you know, not knowing what is the song. And I'm just like, this is so weird. Because I talked to my producer who I co-write with, and I said to him, I just feel this big change coming, and it's beautiful. And it's love. And, you know, now I see more. It's like, yeah, we are going that way, despite what everybody is thinking right now with this whole pandemic and everything else. But think about it. Most of the people I know, their life has changed for the better, and they're so happy. They've gone and done some soul searching. They've had time to think about things. Life has slowed down a little, you know, and I mean, it happened for me, but it happened for tons of people I spoke to. I'm like, what's going on here? It's happening. It's going in the right direction. That's amazing. Well, you know, even with the first summit, I walked away from it so inspired. I can't believe the people who are all here and everybody's on the same wavelength, talking about the same thing. You know, sometimes you kind of think you're alone. I know we're not, but you know, you kind of think, because you don't, especially more than ever right now, we're not communicating with a large group of people, that when we had the first summit, it was like, whoa, there's other people that think the same. And that alone is cool. You know, it's amazing.
And somebody else cannot take you into something you are not. That's where you find people doing things they are not supposed to do, and they get like upset and they give up easily. But when you know that you do what you love, you don't give up.